Most local businesses are still marketing like it's 2016. They run some ads, they boost some posts, and they pray and hope that the phone rings. But today, whether you are selling cars or dental services or even gym memberships, buyers hit 30 plus digital touch points before they're ever going to walk through your doors. Today's guest is Denise, the president and COO over at PCG Digital. She works with car dealerships, but this episode really applies to any brick and mortar business trying to win locally. We talk all about why your website is your real showroom, why price wars mean that you haven't built enough trust with your audience, why clean data beats bigger ad budgets, and how to use AI without losing the human touch. If your marketing feels busy, but not necessarily effective, this episode of the Humans of Growth podcast is for you. Let's dive in. Denise, welcome to the show.
I am so thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Denise, I introduced the professional side of you, and that's great and wonderful, but I want to know the human side of you. So in a sentence or two, who are you as a human? What is bringing you joy in a world that is on fire right now?
I have two beautiful children that are 3 and 5 years old. Their names are Summer and Georgia. They are the light of my life. I also have a husband too, George, who's great as well. But the kids, I enjoy them so much. I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. I have both of them dance. They do gymnastics. We're involved in our church and our school. I'm on the PTA. So it's funny because, years ago, before the kids, I eat, breathed, and slept. Oh my gosh, just kind of like not them, right? And now It's like I'm in this position now where not only do I have my life, but I'm creating lives for them too, making sure that we're, involved in, great things for them. They've, the oldest one cheerleads. There's great role models there. And that is a huge passion of mine, making sure that the kids are set up for success. I know that sounds corny, but that's where I'm at right now, where we're both at. And I enjoy every second of it. I have this Girl Scout troop. They're adorable. It's cookie selling season. They have goals. They're learning to be entrepreneurs. It's wonderful.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So what type of Girl Scout cookies are y'all's favorite?
So they recently this year released the Explore More, which is a Rocky Road flavored inspired cookie. We were able to sample it at the last meeting, and it was delicious. And for me personally, the tag-alongs are still my favorite as well. This is such a good plug for the Girl Scout.
It is. I'm here for it. I was a Girl Scout growing up. I always tried to sell the most cookies. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't.
Right. Well, what's great now is with Digital Cookie, we'll ship anywhere. So if anybody wants to buy Girl Scout cookies, I guess it's a shameless plug.
I'm here for it all day long. When does Girl Scout cookie season end?
April.
It's middle of January. Guys, we'll put a link in the show notes for you. We'll as many cookies as we can sell. I'm here for it. It's funny you bring up Girl Scouts because I remember the days of Girl Scouts of like going door to door in the neighborhood, and my parents were teachers and going to like all the teachers, do you want Girl Scout cookies? And it was very much a physical sales experience. And now so much of it is digital. And it reminds me in a weird, warped kind of way of how car sales have changed as well. Where in the past, it was very much, you're going to go and you're going to talk to a salesman, and maybe you got the salesman is at one dealership. Sometimes they're at two if it's a family of dealerships. But you're going from dealership to dealership to find your car.
That's right.
Compared to fast forward 10 years now, probably 15 if we're honest about it. And I'm going to find the car that I want online. I'm going to walk into the dealership and say, hey, sell me this car. I want XYZ to spend XYZ on it. The process has changed dramatically. So I'm curious, because you guys work specifically with car dealerships, how have you seen the marketing and sales process change?
It's a great question. And just like the Girl Scout cookies, not only has it changed, but it also remains the same at the same time. So I have my girls walking door to door still because of that customer service aspect, right? Where they can look face to face and practice their public speaking skills. It's the same thing with buying a car. Like, even though most of the shopping is being done online, the digital showroom, somebody can sit at home, with their computer, their mobile device, with their, their friends, their partners, and kind of pinpoint what they want. When they still walk into that dealership, they want to be able to interact with a human and have a customer service approach. What's funny about the marketing, though, and how it's transitioned is we realize that people really want to understand the process of what it is to buy a car at the dealership, right? So even though we do all of this research online, one of the things that's very true to the marketing is that people want to know, what's it like to buy from this dealership? I can find this car. Obviously, if it's a used vehicle, you might have the exact one I want, but why should I buy from you and not the dealership down the street? And that's where we've seen the marketing really go towards, is understanding the process of buying that car. That human connection still is there and is very true. When we think about how shoppers are shopping today, what's really changed is that, we used to be able to influence a shopper with one ad very easily years ago and say, here's the ad, here's the car, here's the dealership, go get it. Now the digital touch print, it gets to be about 32 digital touch prints before somebody is ready to buy a vehicle. And that's just not, Google ads and social media. We're talking OTT, we're talking email, we're talking, direct mail too, even sprinkled in there to an extent, even though that's not digital per se. But, there are so many touch points. And one of the things that's been really great about our industry is that since we've become so inquisitive and we've become so advanced on understanding the metrics, we now really can pinpoint shoppers as to where they are in their journey with the right message at the right time, even more so than we could, about 10 years ago when digital first came on the scene.
Ooh, I love that. So when it comes to marketing and messaging, if you're buying a new car, for someone like me, I care about the experience and the salesperson that I'm working with to some degree. But I also, when I'm comparing apples to apples and they're exactly the same, it is a race to the bottom in terms of pricing and negotiation. So how does that come into all of the marketing that you guys do?
That's a great point. So my marketing leads people to the website, right? And the website or the digital showroom is all about the experience. When you look at a website and you think of a digital retailing aspect, if there's too many buttons on the DP page, the vehicle description page, you get you're laughing because you're shopping for a car now, right? It's very overwhelming. So even if I'm going to lead people to the website needs to be in a good place for somebody to feel comfortable and shop from it. You should be able to understand what your price will be, what your payments will be, all from the website. The good dealerships understand this. The smart dealerships understand this, right? And they take that into effect. So even when you think of the process of yourself looking for a car right now, you're going to notice as you look at these different vehicle description pages, even if it's coming down to the same car, you're probably going to adhere more to the website that navigates a little better. And that's a little easier to understand prior to you even calling the dealership to making an appointment. Also, I'm sure for you, chat is very important too. You might not necessarily want to pick up a phone and call the dealership. You might want a great chat option or a text option as well too, which can all be done from the website as well to ask the questions that you want to even prior to going in.
Yeah, and I think that's so true because as I'm looking for a new car, I'm sitting here thinking if communication is complicated, if it's messy, if it's difficult, I'm going to assume that I'm going to have the same experience with the salesperson when I'm trying to negotiate. Because the negotiation, I've tried to do the negotiation online and via email, and Lord have mercy, it does not work. It's you still have to go in. So I'm going to choose the dealership that responds on chat, that has an easier website, that is more communicative than the dealership where I feel I'm going to be okay, well, explain this. What do you mean by this? And they have a bad communication customer experience process, even if their rates behind the scenes and their prices behind the scenes are lower.
That's right. Your digital showroom needs to be a mirror of your in-person showroom, right? So a lot of dealerships, their cultures are great. They've got great work ethic. Family owned is big for a lot. Your digital showroom, your website needs to have the same vibe and flow. So while you're looking for a car, the experience that you have online needs to mimic the experience that you would have had just walking into the showroom. And again, a lot of the great dealerships that are doing really well understand that, they do need to be combined in that aspect.
100%. And I would add to this that this does not apply just to car dealerships.
That's right.
If you have a brick and mortar store and an online store, the two experiences should mirror each other.
Always.
If I go to your website and it's a really trashy website, I'm going to assume that my experience with you may feel more mom and pop ish. Not to hate on mom and pops. I love you guys. But it's going to feel more mom and pop compared to a luxury website where I expect to spend a little bit more, but I'm going to have a luxury experience. The two should mirror each other. This isn't just yes, we're putting this in the context of automotive dealerships, but it's not relegated to just that specific industry.
110%. Yep. And I think that, for so long, the two have been very separate, where it's like, well, we have a brick and mortar store, we have an e-commerce site.
Yep.
Pulling them together is just going to make you 10 times more successful.
Oh, 100%. Because I don't always have time to drive across the city to go to your store. But if I know that you'll deliver to me and you have a good website, 100%.
Yeah.
So where do you see dealerships struggling the most when it comes to marketing growth sales in the new reality of digital first?
Right now, it's definitely all centered around data cleansing. So the dealerships that really did understand the concept of having clean data, having good first party data are a lot more successful than the ones that didn't. We can have great marketing messages out there. We can have great campaigns, great visuals, but if it's not being served to the proper audience, it's going towards nothing. So the industry right now, we have really come a long way and gotten very advanced with the concept of a customer data platform or a CDP. Most, companies utilize them across the board. Macy's does, Target does.
Yep. Will you break that down for people who aren't familiar?
Sure. So a customer data platform is basically a tool that brings your data in, whether it comes in from marketing or whether you're connecting your CRM to it. And it takes in all of that data and understands who your customers are or your potential customers are. There's a PII involved with it too, which is a personal identification factor. And the more that somebody interacts with your website, the more it adds to their PII, right? If your marketing is not targeting the right people, you're going to get messy data back into your CDP, right? And therefore, there needs to be a whole concept and layer of data cleansing. The dealerships that invested heavily when it first came onto the scene, 2-3 years ago into CDP are doing very well because they've already been through that whole structure of cleansing their data and making sure that they're serving messages to the right people. I should not be getting any advertisements for dealerships because I'm not in market. Even though this is what I do for a living and I go to, dealerships websites all the time, I shouldn't be getting any advertisements because I am not in market. And dealerships that are really utilizing data cleansing, CDPs, their marketing is being served to the right people and therefore their conversions are sky high, more conversations, more texts, more chats, more people walking in the showroom.
Yeah, and I think this gets into we could go down the rabbit hole on this and we'll try to keep us at the first 6 inches of the rabbit hole. But data privacy isn't a thing anymore. And we have, especially with dealerships that are nationwide, and any company, bigger companies that are nationwide, they have individual data points on these people. And so, like you said, all of these bigger dealerships, all these bigger companies, they know that just because I searched this doesn't mean I'm actually in market for something. And this is target audience, but on a significantly deeper level. So I just wanted to kind of add that caveat of like, this is target audience, but take it 10 times deeper and it's primarily what I see this being used for is companies that are multi-million, close to the $1 billion mark where they can invest in this technology. It's not something that small to mid-sized businesses would necessarily use. So I just want to kind of put that asterisk to that. Like I have access to some of this software through my agencies, but it's very much, if you're a small mid-sized business, focus on your target audience, and then you'll get to the point where you can do, this is the exact person level targeting?
And it depends on who the audience is, mile radius, all of that. I think that there's some great tools out there for the mid-level sizes. You know, when you think of like even HubSpot, they necessarily aren't a CDP CRM, but they do have capabilities to understand who came to the website, how many times. Obviously, when you go into a customer data platform, it goes deeper than that, but there are solutions out there for, you know, those mid to small size level businesses. And it all comes down to, you know, the CRM. A lot of them do email marketing, right? Making sure that that data is clean and that you are sending emails to people that would want to buy from you.
Right, 100%. And that's where so many businesses do go wrong is they have thousands of people on their email list, but how are they checking this data to make sure it's accurate?
That's right.
In terms of level of intent, but also people change email addresses. In B2B spaces, people change jobs. So is this data still clean?
I mean, I could break it down this way too, right? Like we used to say at the company, and we still do, if your website isn't ready to be marketed to, there's no point in doing any marketing. Now we add another layer. If your data isn't clean, there's no point to be, you know, serving any type of advertising to those people. So you even add on another layer to it now. So not only is it about the website being clean, you need to make sure that your data is clean as well too.
100%. So when it comes to dealerships and this new wave of marketing and being online, where do you see people over investing, but also under investing when it comes to marketing?
I think that a lot of people, you know, since you have an ad spend behind, this is gonna open up a can of worms too.
I love it.
You have an ad spend behind Google advertising, you right away think that it needs to be the biggest investment that your dealership can make, and rightfully so. You have to feed the machine, and a great SEM specialist is not going to spend money to spend money, right? They're going to make sure that the targeting is up to snuff, that, you know, you are, you know, optimized for the proper conversions for your dealership, all of that. Where I still see dealerships not utilizing their proper investment is in the SEO content side of things.
Ooh, okay. Tell me more about that.
So there's still a lot more opportunity in organic. And people would always say, you know, you should be ranking. It's free. It technically isn't free. You have to invest in a company to be able to, you know, do this for you and all of this. But it's a good investment, right? And it can be a proactive investment. So what I mean by that is that, you know, if you know that the 2027 models are going to be announced at the end of 2026, you can have those pages already be ranking organically. So you can write about them. Now, obviously, we have OEM compliance and everything that we have to really, you know, make sure that we stay in line with. But there are great ways to be able to rank for these pages ahead of things, you know, being released. Also from a used side too, you can get ahead of the curve and have all of your new pages be turned into used 2026s and have those start to rank as well too, organically, so that when somebody does start that search, when they see potentially the commercials from the OEM, when they see your advertising, if they're going to Google and they're searching, you want to be the first one that comes up. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit when it comes to SEO and organic.
Ooh, I love that. And I think that's what people forget is that you can update pages after they've been published.
That's right.
To help them continue ranking. Like if we're in 2026 right now, so it's like, okay, with the 2025 pages, you don't need to just delete them, because that honestly confuses Google to some degree. How do we take this page, tweak it a little bit so now it's used 20, or like the leftover models that are on sale for the 2025 vehicles?
I think what we do really well as an agency in regards to SEO is not just the new, but the maintenance as well too, right? Like making sure that the website is maintained properly, making sure that just because we slap a page up there doesn't mean that it's going to do what we want it to do. Like you're saying, it needs to make sure that the meta titles are correct, that we're optimizing it constantly, that we're re-optimizing it for possibly the next year heading up. And a great SEO team is going to understand that and do that for you. That all couples into the organic. So I really think that, you know, again, the investment usually goes into the advertising spend, which is great. You need advertising,
Totally.
you need Google advertising. You definitely need Meta advertising, Instagram and Facebook. We talked about it prior to starting, but the organic side of things too, that's a huge investment that, could be really, put in more by dealerships.
Oh, 100%. And I see so many businesses across industries say, how do I get leads and clients right now? And like, what's the fastest way to not more ROI, but more revenue? And so they put all of their marketing dollars into Google ads, into Facebook ads, and that's great. And that's like the fast marketing, but how do you also do the slow foundational marketing as well, which is like your organic content on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, social media, influencer marketing, UGC, all of that other stuff shouldn't be ignored because to some degree that's your foundations.
And in this day and age, with obviously, AI generative content and the way that, we are being served things on.
Hey guys, real quick, this episode is sponsored by Parison Network. Parison Network is a matchmaking service that connects businesses to marketing agencies that will actually get you results. There's over 50,000 agencies in the United States alone, and picking the right one can feel, well, pretty impossible. Parison Network simplifies the entire process by doing all of the vetting for you. From the initial agency search to interviewing and vetting the top marketing agencies to getting proposals and helping you with the discovery call, Parison Network does it all. This way, you end up partnering with a marketing agency that actually delivers outcomes, not empty promises. If you're ready to stop wasting money on marketing that just doesn't work, visit ParisonNetwork.com and get your free agency search started today. That's ParisonNetwork.com, PERISSON Network.com.
Google, the more content that you have on your website that is answering questions, the more you're likely to come up in that generative AI search. So, years ago, we used to promote and really talk heavily about that it was quality content versus quantity, right? You wanted good quality content on the website. But now in this realm of AI, things are starting to shift again where you need a lot more quality to be able to be the one that is, ranking properly and being the one that comes up first.
Yeah, and it's definitely quality with the quantity as well, which is where AI can be a little bit helpful in creating that volume of content. So I want to pivot a little bit into AI because what I've seen from the car industry, my family used to own a car body shop back in the day. I've spent way too many hours at car repair shops. With my current car, I'm looking at buying a car. And what I've kind of noticed within anything that's car adjacent is that we can be slow to adapt to new technologies.
Right.
I see this on both the mom and pop side, but I also see it on the nationwide side as well. How do you think AI should be used when it comes to dealerships and their marketing?
It should be used and monitored and make sure, again, the same way as the digital showroom, that your culture is involved in it. Right. So we can't leave things up to their own devices. There's this great, when it comes to AI, there's, the paperclip theory, right? If I told, a machine to go out and make paperclips, that's all that they would know to do. They would break down anything and everything to make paper clips, precious metals, this, that. They take the chair, they make paper clips. I have to tell the robot, I want this amount of paper clips and I only want you to use these resources to do it. It's the same way with including AI into your businesses. You yourself have to make sure that it is mimicking what you want it to do and monitoring it. AI is beautiful for efficiencies at dealerships. You can have, be talking to multiple customers. You don't necessarily have to wait for somebody to chat them internally at the dealership. You can have things going, being answered, even from, a call standpoint as well, too. It just needs to make sure that it is in a position where it's following the processes that you have internally, which is very easy to do. You tell the machine what you want it to do and you oversee it.
Yeah, and I think that's where people make the biggest mistakes with AI is they don't give it enough context. So what I see happening with if we zoom out from like car dealerships and just in normal everyday use, you tell Chat GPT, here's a one-line prompt. It's going to get you an output, but it'll get you a better output if your prompt is a page long and it has context to it. So like my new marketing assistant just got set up with Chat GPT for the first time. Don't know why it took that long. It happened within the past couple months. And if we put the same prompts into mine versus hers, we get wildly different outputs because my Chat GPT is more trained on my SOPs, my processes, my tone of voice compared to hers, which is brand new and has very little context. And so when we think about AI, how are we giving it the context for our business and putting those guideposts and guardrails into place?
Or a blueprint of what works, right? So I am building and releasing, this past year building, now releasing this month, we built a tech stack at the company. And what was very important to me was through all of these years of us working with these dealers, and we have dealers that have been with us for 12 years, you know, we retain clients very well. Utilizing our customizations, our strategies, I wanted to make sure that we were telling the tech stack exactly what it was that we wanted it to do so that it could get smarter and enhance our ideas. So it's coming basically from our brains. I'm basically taking my specialists, my account managers, even mine to an extent brain and pumping it into this tool. And then I want the tool to become smarter as we ingest more into it and just enhance our ideas, making everybody's lives more efficient, making the marketing messages better. The strategies will become more intact, but I wanted to feed the machine, if that makes sense, right? I wanted it to be us and then just have it take off and go.
Yeah, and I think this is so important for all businesses to start to think about is because you look at companies of any size and they have like the HR handbook of here's our policies, here's our SOPs. But then how do we take all the brains of all of our different people and put them into one place? And putting a lot of companies will do this in a Google Doc, and yeah, you should have all your templates and SOPs and processes in a shared Google Drive folder. But how do we get the nuances of people's brains into a transcript and then put into a custom GPT that is kind of a knowledge base for your entire company to help you run faster, further, better, for better lack of terminology?
Right. And then you could work to everybody's strengths too, right? So if you have a current, employee at your company that is really good at a specific thing, take that and make a process for it to pump into some sort of AI thing so that they could do more of it in faster time, right? Think about yourself too. Like, I'm trying to think of something I'm really good at, which I can't think of right now. But, so years ago when I used to run the social campaigns at the company, that's how I started as a social specialist. I took the seat as president in 2019. But if I was Denise, 11 years ago in this realm, I would be like, I really enjoy thinking of creative for these dealerships based on their location, based on their size, based on their company. I would be looking at something that could really enhance that and create more graphics quicker than me and the graphic designer ever could. How could it look at, where they're located, what they're by, right? So, years ago we used to look at, we would say to dealerships, are you by any colleges? Because, what's very big? College football, right? We wanted to incorporate those colors and brands even into the dealership. I would be creating a tool that would be able to look at all of that so quickly without me having to even ask the client or talk about those things, to be able to pump out 100%. 5 graphics and 5 taglines like this.
Yep. And this is where it's about how do we take our strengths and then multiply them rather than AI is replacing what we're already good at.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of people think of the term AI or when, a company is introducing AI. And I recently said it when we were talking to a company the other day, I'm not looking to, replace a workforce. I'm looking to make their lives more efficient. I'm looking to strengthen their resumes, which is something we've always been very passionate about at the company. You know, we like to grow from within. And I'm looking at, you know, making sure that my team has more time to strategize and more time to look at results than doing, you know, said manual work and thinking of everything constantly. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. How do we free up more brain space to do the things that only humans can do?
That's right. That's right. And, you know, thinking about, you know, humans and everything, the AI isn't going to be able to do everything. I was watching this podcast about AI safety, and, you know, the person doing the podcast asked the guest, you know, would this replace everything, right? When you think of like super AI. And he was like, he said it's so great. He said, you know, a robot's never going to know what ice cream tastes like. Think
True.
about it. So you are still going to need that human aspect. We've talked about that customer service, that face-to-face. You still are going to have to be able to kind of talk to your AI about that and what that means to you, right? To make sure that it all stems over. These are great questions. I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Great. I love it. So so you guys have your tech stack more and more AI. What misconceptions do you see dealers have when it comes to AI?
They think they can set it and forget it, or they, you know, sign up with a vendor that their misconception is we set it and forget it. Well, we just let the machine do the work. We let the, you know, the machine go to work, take everything. No, there still needs to be inspection layer. There still needs to be a QAing layer to it. You can have processes in place within the AI to make your QAing faster. That's fine, but there still does need to be that human oversight to it, especially in our industry too, because when it comes to branding for automotive and dealerships, you know, I mentioned compliance, right? You know, each OEM has their own guides, branding, and things that we even have to stick to monthly. You need to make sure that it is precisely correct in order for the dealerships to be considered compliant with their marketing. So you do need that human overlay to it as well.
Right. 100%. It's what I see with AI as I've started to implement more and more of it. And as my clients have as well, it's like the human touch and then compliance and how do we make sure this information is correct and meets guidelines. And then also, if all three of those boxes are checked, okay, the AI is really good. How do we make it better? How do we always be fine tuning the prompts? Because if you have prompts from a year ago aren't as good as the prompts that we have now. So if I had created a process that had XYZ prompt in it from a year ago, I'm going to get left behind in the dust because I'm not consistently innovating over and over and over again. And it's not that I need to redo my prompts every single month, but every couple of months, okay, it's giving me this output based upon the new tech that's come out, how AI has changed and evolved, how buyer behavior has changed and evolved, current events. How does my prompt need to change? Where do I need to add tweaking, manipulation to it to get better as well?
Right. And I think that, you know, we always used to look, especially in our industry, so generational, right? Oh, Gen Z's coming and Gen Z is not going to shop the same. But in this day and age, you know, where we're headed, we can't even look at generational anymore because there are people that are considered, you know, baby boomers that shop the same way that Gen Z does now because they've always stayed intact with technology and what was going on. Right. You know, it's, you can't really, you know, you can't really look at it generational anymore either because shoppers are going to be as advanced as they want to be, as advanced as they've gotten with technology.
Right. And so you have to divide your marketing based upon generations, and then you have to do cross sections of where are they in like the technology generation. Are they babies with technology and you're doing good to get them on Facebook versus they're using AI and in every aspect of their life, et cetera, and whatever that looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes down to all the technology that's out there, right? I even think of Venmo. You know, you think that it's such a younger generational thing. Well, not necessarily. My cousin-in-law, who is the same age as me, you know, we're 37, 38 years old. She won't use Venmo. She's half family. And then I have, you know, an aunt who's in her 60s that will Venmo me anytime she needs to. It's just, you know, it really doesn't come down to generations anymore. It's about how an individual is advancing with technology.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely made marketing more complicated to some degree. Like
Definitely.
I tell people every once in a while, it's like I miss the old version of marketing where if you post it on social media, you're going to get sales from it. And what I used to see is like marketing, you put $1 in, you get $5 back. And now it's become more like playing professional, like not professional pinball. Like you know how to make the levers hit the different things you need to hit to get the ball to go straight up, but
That's
it's
right.
going to take a little while to get there. Maybe potentially even the same amount of time as the vending machine, but it's a lot more things you have to hit. There's a stat that dates back to I don't know when in the 1900s. It's an older stat that we still use of like, oh, it takes 7 to 12 touches before somebody converts. No, it doesn't. Like that's like from, God, I don't know how old that stat is, but it's so outdated. It's like, no, it takes dozens. I think you had
Yeah.
said 32 within the dealership world.
Yep.
It
We
takes more touches. And so it's not, marketing isn't straight like lead generation the way it used to be. It's how do we build out marketing in every aspect of the buyer journey?
That's right. So we did, at the agency years ago, I wrote this concept of the automotive social media sales funnel. It was a white paper. It basically back then very manually, we were sending people to a service page, capturing them with the pixel, then sending them a coupon for an oil change, bringing them back and taking it from there. Now, years later, the concept of life cycle marketing has taken into play. And my VP of media and I co-wrote the next white paper, life cycle marketing for automotive. And that's where we discovered that somebody would potentially have 32 digital touch points, right? Not even realizing that they were in market to buy a car. If anybody wants to download it, we can give the link, but it's about Maggie, who's a shopper who basically is just, understanding what size car seat to buy for her third child to see if it fits. And she ends up Googling the dimensions of the back seat of the Nissan Rogue. And then in return, all of a sudden she's getting ads for the Honda Pilot. And she's saying, maybe we do need a bigger car. And you can read the paper, but literally between, streaming and, the advertisements and the Google business profile and organic comes into play. It ended up being 32 digital touch points that she had prior to purchasing the car.
Whew, it's a lot. So with all the thousands of digital touch points that there are nowadays, if a dealer could only focus on one growth lever this year, what should it be?
Data cleansing. I know
you're a big one on that one.
I know I keep saying it, but again, I have dealerships that are being very successful right now, and it's because they really took that investment into their data and understanding, who their customers were and building it up from there. You can't just shoot into the dark anymore. I mean, you remember years ago, we used to be able to do social campaigns, put a mile radius around something, and we were selling everything under the sun at 89 cents a click.
Yep, those are the good old days.
Those are the good old days. Well, that's not what it's like anymore, and it's gotten very much more extremely competitive, and the cleaner your data is, the better your marketing messages will be, the more you will sell.
That is a good word. Denise, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If people would like to connect with you further, what's the best way for them to find you?
LinkedIn, Denise Scaliazzatos. You can find me there. And my email address is denise@pcgcompanies.com. Would love to connect with anybody who would like to.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For everyone tuning today, thank you for joining, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Humans of Growth.